public school versus private school debate was the first time that my husband and I realized how we had both come up from totally different upbringings, where I had 12 years of private schooling. My husband had public schooling and didn't finish high school. And when it came to our children and what we wanted for them, we both came from two different sides of the fence. And the only knowledge that we had of the other side of that fence was what we had heard or what we thought we knew. Because I had never experienced what he'd come from, and he had never experienced what I had come from. Yesterday, I spoke about how some of those thoughts and beliefs are actually drilled into you, like from the way that the rules were drilled into me from my father and the way that we were taught how we had to grow up. But sometimes we can also have these beliefs that aren't drilled into us. They're just based on the experience or the way that we've actually lived our lives. And it's only until someone confronts that or we're faced with a situation where we realize there is an alternative to that idea or that thought or belief that is not the same as the one that we're already holding. And these are the ones that we have within us that we don't know if they're ours or someone else's, or if we want to continue to hold onto them until we look at them. So that's like when things happen in our experience, and I believe this is why we have these experiences, to say, okay, well, this thing's now happening. How do I react to that? What do I think about what's happening in this situation? So for me, being faced with an actual alternate to the thoughts and ideas that I had opened my mind up to, hang on, maybe there's a different way. Maybe there's a different outlook I can see at viewing something from someone else's perspective. And we have so many of these that we don't even realize until we're faced with something that wakes them up or opens them up to interpretation. There's a lot of times that I have stood firmly in beliefs and went, no, I believe this. But if you actually look at it and think about it and think, well, where did that come from? Did I create that? Did I decide that that was something that I wanted to believe? Or was it because of my circumstances or experiences that have led me to believe that thing? And I think the only way we can grow is to expose ourselves to these other different alternate views or ways to look at things from a different perspective in order for us to truly determine which ones are going to be ours, which are the ones that we want to hold, which are the ones that we want to move forward with in our life and use as our own guide to exist in this whole existence. And once you start opening one door to different alternatives or different ideas, you'll start opening so many new doors and shattering so many different beliefs and thoughts. And then once you can look at something from all these different perspectives, it's like a shattering of these ideas. And imagine that you go, okay, well, there's this idea and this belief and what happens over here and what I've experienced and what's happened for someone else. And you put all of those things together. Eventually, you'll be able to form your own belief or your own truth within all of those little broken pieces. And then that's what becomes your truth, because you've been open to the possibility of different ideas and the way that other people see things, instead of you sort of blocking things off and saying, no, this is the only way, this is the only belief, this is the only way that something can happen, or this is the only way I can think about something. You're blocking yourself off to a lot of other things and a lot of other new experiences. But when you get to be truly open and get to see it all, you really get to create your own. You really get to pick up these foundational pieces that you want to hold as yours, and they become your own foundation. And it doesn't mean that you have to be locked into beliefs. If you start looking and start opening them all, you'll start to see this space that opens up, because you won't be attached to particular beliefs or to particular experiences, and you'll get to flow a lot more in life, because the pieces that you do want to create or hold as your own become less and less. I know for myself, I had a gazillion beliefs that I had locked in and said, this is the only way, this is the only thing that I believe. And so it put me in this one little space of saying, okay, well, you can only exist here like this. But once you start removing and breaking all that down, you have this space, you have this openness, you have this flow of allowing different things in, because you're not creating that tension, you're not creating those blocks, because you're only sitting in one rock solid belief that you think has to be the only way. So if you start looking at some of those borrowed beliefs, or those ones that you don't even realize is there, you'll start to see we can start sort of, just let them go a little bit. Let them dissipate, let them exist around you, and just save your energy and create a foundation of the things that you truly believe in, or those things that you really want to hold as yours. Everything else, we don't need to stress about it. We don't need to hold on to it. That's what blocks our creativity. That's what blocks our flow and allowing things to ebb in and out of our existence. So just look at some of those ones that you're holding now, and just continue to be open to the alternate perspectives and alternate ideas that other people are holding as well.